You're listening to Four Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast.
Today is Monday, February 16th. I'm Maria Lisignoli.
And I'm Johnny Kahner. Thanks for listening to Four Things to Know.
Our top story today. We're following a new development in the investigation into the death of Alex Pretti. The Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension announced today that the FBI has formally told them that it will not share any information or evidence collected in the shooting death of Alex Pretti. The BCA has also reiterated requests to receive the FBI's cooperation in the killing of Renee Good and the shooting of Julio Sosa Solis. So far, the BCA says they have not received an answer to this request. BCA Superintendent Drew Evans released a statement saying, quote, "While this lack of cooperation is concerning and unprecedented, the BCA is committed to thorough, independent, and transparent investigations into these incidents, even if hampered by a lack of access to key information and evidence."
Number two, ahead of the legislative session start, Minnesota DFL lawmakers are pushing back against President Trump's immigration crackdown and calling on Republicans to join them. DFL leaders shared their plea to their GOP counterparts this morning. Barrett Leone has an update from the Capitol, and you'll also hear from DFL Senator Aaron Mayquade.
Lawmakers we heard from this morning say despite the talk of a federal down draw in Operation Metro Surge, the impact is far from over, and it's why they're proposing a handful of bills in response to the immigration crackdown. They're urging Minnesota Republicans to join in on their cause. So DFL leaders stood alongside Minnesota ACLU advocates and small business owners sharing stories of alleged unlawful detentions and economic fallout. The ACLU says it's received more than 700 reports of possible constitutional violations just in the past 2 months. On top of calling out President Trump for his, quote, abuse of power and harmful actions in Minnesota, DFL legislators are proposing bills to limit cooperations with federal immigration enforcement, something they say they need Republican support on in order to accomplish.
So Minnesota Republicans, as we start this legislative session, have two options. They can continue to be silent in the face of this economic siege. They can continue to be silent while their own constituents, business owners, neighbors, teachers, doctors, children are taken and kidnapped, separated from their family. Or they can join the hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans across race, place, political and party affiliation who have stood up against this lawless federal government and demand accountability.
Again, lawmakers are proposing bills that would limit cooperation with federal immigration officers, things like banning masks on officers and making sure vehicles are clearly marked during arrests. Now, we did reach out to House and Senate GOP leaders, but in the past, Republicans have questioned the state's authority in regulating ICE.
Number three. Minnesota legislature kicks off the 2026 session tomorrow at noon. All 201 members will be back at the Capitol to start their work, but there will be one notably empty seat. Caroline Cummings has more.
The first day of session is usually like a back-to-school moment for lawmakers, returning after a break, ready and eager to reconnect with their colleagues and get back to work. But tomorrow will be different. Lawmakers will instead honor their friend and colleague, House Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman, who was killed alongside her husband in a tragic act of political violence that rocked the state last summer. The Senate will join the House in commemorating her life and legacy. Governor Tim Walz and legislative leaders will give speeches. There will be a reception with bread and cake. Favorites of the Hortmans and therapy dogs will be there at the Capitol, too. Melissa Hortman's desk will be untouched all session. Every day, members will walk into the chamber and walk by and see her photo and a bouquet of roses. The hope is that it will remind everyone to treat each other with kindness and respect in a moment where our politics can feel so broken.
Number four, right now, officials in Hennepin County are investigating 2 water deaths from over the weekend. In Bloomington, a child died Saturday afternoon and a man was rescued after falling into Bass Pond. That's near the old Cedar Avenue Bridge trailhead. Bloomington Fire says the man was clinging to the ice when they arrived, but there was no sign of that child. After several more hours, crews were able to recover the child. The medical examiner's office is currently working to identify the official cause of death. Meanwhile, the body of a man who fell through the ice in Minneapolis has been recovered. It happened Friday afternoon on the Mississippi River near the U of M campus. The Hennepin County Sheriff says crews went back yesterday and were able to find him. A woman says she saw it happen and tried to save the man. She also fell into the cold water and was hospitalized after making it back to shore. And after this weekend of tragic water deaths, Hennepin County Water Patrol shares ice safety tips this time of year. Those include only walking on ice that is at least 4 inches thick. For skating, physically check the ice with a chisel or drill first. And if you break through the ice, do not panic and try to turn around and get out the same direction you came from. Their last tip is to avoid any place where water is moving under the ice. Those are the 4 things to know today. Now let's check in on our next weather forecast.
Hi, I'm next weather meteorologist Lisa Meadows. As we head into tonight, temps drop down to 35, very mild but cloudy. Tomorrow we're up to 49 with strong winds and also light rain moving in for the evening.
And now, here's more to know.
At airports today, TSA lines should be running normally, but checkpoint agents are now working without the promise of a paycheck as the funding fight in Washington continues. Democrats are refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It's affecting agencies like the TSA, FEMA, and the U.S. Coast Guard because they first want reforms at ICE. Here's House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
ICE is totally out of control, and they need to be reined in. Judicial warrants should be required before ICE agents can storm private property or rip everyday Americans out of their homes.
Congress is now on recess and won't be back in session until February 23rd, meaning they just have days to reach a deal before some federal workers miss their first paycheck on March 3rd.
Back here in Minnesota, we were there last week as Border Czar Tom Homan announced Operation Metro Surge would be ending. Now we're getting a clearer picture of when that will actually happen. Homan appeared on CBS's Face the Nation yesterday. He says more than 1,000 people have already left town, with several hundred more leaving today or tomorrow. He did not provide any exact numbers, but said agents investigating a church protest will also stay in Minnesota, along with a, quote, small security force.
Our security forces that will respond to when our agents are out and they get surrounded by agitators and things get out of control. And they'll remain for a short period of time just to make sure the coordination, the agreements we have with local and state law enforcement stay in place and they respond to a public safety threat when needed.
But even as Homan announces those numbers, fears continue for many. We spoke with a woman from Mexico who tells us her world has been limited to just her apartment. She tells us she is undocumented and came to Minnesota 2 years ago in search of opportunity. The woman tells us it takes courage to even take out the trash.
No salía yo ni a tirar la basura porque estaban los agentes en el departamento de al lado. A nosotros, los inmigrantes, lo único que queremos es venir, trabajar, sacar adelante a nuestra familia, ayudarlos. Como lo dije, no nos venimos queriendo dejar a la familia.
The woman just said, quote, I wouldn't even go out to take out the trash because the agents were in the apartment next door. We immigrants only want to come to work, to help our families move forward, to support them. Like I said, we didn't come wanting to leave our families, end quote. Again, the Border Czar says immigration operations will continue even as hundreds more agents are expected to leave the state.
Many businesses in the Twin Cities have taken a big hit because of the ICE surge. One of them being Mercado Central, a marketplace with over 30 vendors on Lake Street. Today, the Hell's Kitchen restaurant in Minneapolis held a community pancake breakfast to show their support. Here's more from the restaurant's president, Billy Schoenberg.
I think obviously in Minneapolis right now, it's just a constant conversation of like, how can we help? How can we reach out to the community? What can we be doing? As a restaurant, obviously feeding people, raising funds from it is an really easy way, and it was a pretty resounding across the board Mercado Central, especially from our back of house employees. It feels like that spot has really touched everybody in one way or the other.
84% of sales from the breakfast will go towards supporting Mercado Central.
Some protesters say they don't trust a drawdown of federal agents is actually coming.
We cannot afford to relax just because the language has changed. This moment demands courage. Real safety comes from us.
That was Mirka Zambrano with the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee. Protesters like her gathered yesterday at Jackson Park in Minneapolis. The group called for people to keep fighting federal immigration actions.
They want us to believe that the occupation is over when we see it in full swing in our own neighborhoods. They want to kidnap people quietly, and they want us to fall back. They want us to get comfortable. Let me make something very, very clear. The fight is not over.
Protesters also called for all ICE agents to leave, people being held to be released, and for local officials to ban agreements that grant local law enforcement power to act as federal immigration officers.
2 people are recovering after a shooting at a Columbia Heights restaurant. Authorities say a man and a teenage boy were injured. It happened at New York Euro as employees were inside. The owner says a group of 8 were sitting in the restaurant around 8:40 Saturday night when 2 or 3 others came in. One of the men in the restaurant pulled out a gun and started shooting. An exchange of gunfire followed. That's according to the owner, Irfan Minhas. Bullet holes could be seen in the front door and into the menu behind where employees stand.
Everybody was shocked and they were scared. Don't argue with anybody in these days. Everybody's carrying gun, and you never know.
The Anoka County Sheriff's Office says there have been no arrests. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact them through the non-emergency dispatch.
All right, let's get to some sports headlines. The USA women's hockey team will be playing for gold. They beat Sweden today 5-0. The U.S. will play the winner of Canada and Switzerland. Those 2 play this afternoon. And the U.S., they've already beaten both of them by a score of 5-0 each game. And get this, today, the 5th consecutive shutout for the Americans. They've only let up 1 goal all Olympics. Crazy. Gold medal game Thursday at about noon. And to basketball news, the lone Timberwolf at the All-Star game came home with the MVP award. Yeah, that's right. Anthony Edwards, he had 32 points in 3 games. The NBA tried a new format this year. It sounds like it went pretty well. Here's Ant after the game.
I ain't gonna lie, Wemby set the tone. He came out playing hard, and, you know, we had to follow that, and we had to pick it up as a red team, and we did that.
You see KD and LeBron guarding you? Yeah. Why do you want that matchup?
Yeah, for sure. I want to cook them every time. You know that.
It's time to take a breath with your Daily Bright Spot.
Mint fans, get ready. The Shamrock Shake returns tomorrow to McDonald's. So the Shamrock Shake and the Oreo Shamrock McFlurry are making their return to the Golden Arches starting tomorrow. No word exactly on how long they'll be in the stores, but I mean, hey, St. Patrick's Day is a month away.
Just a month away. And people that love their Shamrock Shake, I'm not one of them, but they do really love them.
People are crazy about them. I am also not one of them. And I try every year, or, you know, however long. Every time I try to get one, I'm like, it sounds so good. And the hype is so real. And every time I hate it.
Do you ever dip your fries in a McDonald's shake?
Oh, that is the best. Absolutely.
That is the best.
You can't go wrong with a little bit of shake and fries, but, you know, Shamrock Shake, it's not for me.
I like Oreo.
I do love
Oreo.
Oreo.
Shamrock, interesting. I mean, I know people like that too, but
right?
Just plain Oreo for me, it's good enough.
I'm not a mint person, except for a Thin Mint Girl Scout cookie. Yes.
Or toothpaste.
I guess I do use toothpaste at least twice a day, but I don't eat it.
No.
Oh my gosh, yeah, don't eat toothpaste. You know, just get a what's it called? Shamrock Shake instead. Okay, on that note, it's been great to have you here on 4 Things to Know with Johnny Kahner. I'm Maria Lisignoli, and we're here with the news you need every weekday afternoon by 3 o'clock.
Listen to 4 Things to Know, a WCCO daily news podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.